Hey race fans, it's race day top 5 with me, Frank 5. 3, 4, 5 wide racing on the restarts on a track that's so slippery, even under the lights after a long rain delay, and a breakout winner after 3 consecutive second place finishes. A big day for the showman. Number 1, Alex Bowman at long last, after 3 consecutive second place finishes after the spring break, gets his first career Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series victory at the Camping World 400 in Chicagoland Speedway last night over Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, and Brad Keselowski. What a roller coaster career it has been for this kid and Alex Bowman. He started his career in the Xfinity Series driving for Ricky RAB Racing and, quickly progressed himself to the Cup Series, but at lower teams with BK Racing, which is now defunct, and Tommy Baldwin Racing. And he started the year in his only year at Baldwin by missing the Daytona 500. And then he went into a junior motorsports development role, driving a couple of junior motorsports cars for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and really performed well and raised some eyebrows. And when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had his concussion in the middle of 2016, ultimately ending his season, he put Alex Bowman in the 88 car alongside Jeff Gordon to share the ride and get some experience and hopefully raise some eyebrows about his talent, and definitely showed it. And his big moment in the 88 car was in his home track in 2016 where he won the pole, led the most laps, and in my opinion, he should have won that race if the 22 and the 20 didn't come on strong at the end. Alex Bowman should have won that race. And then after 2016, he didn't have a ride for most of 2017, only a couple of Xfinity and truck rides. And then all of a sudden, Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced retirement, and Rick Hendrick signs Alex Bowman to drive the 88 in 2018. I felt like this is the chance for this guy to shine and show us what he's got. He started his first full-time season in Hendrick Motorsports last year by winning the pole for the Daytona 500, and then ultimately made the chase at the end of the year and made it to the round of 12 after people thought, like, oh, he was a first round exit, but he really wasn't. He really ran competitive. And at the beginning of the season, he really did not get on the right foot. He wasn't really running well compared to some of the 100 cars. Bowman was struggling, but then after the spring break, he got 3 second place finishes behind Chase Elliott at Talladega, Truex at Dover, and Brad Keselowski at Kansas, the race that I think he should have won that race. And yesterday, put on a stellar performance, leading 80 laps, the exact number of his car, 88. And held off Kyle Larson, who passed him on the end, but then he got back by him with about 5 laps to go. A great performance by Alex Bowman and Greg Ives. And this team had not won a race since Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last win in his career in 2015 in a rain-shortened race at ISM Raceway, which was then called Jeff Gordon Raceway during Jeff's final season. So a big moment for Alex Bowman, and he's in the playoffs. He doesn't have to point his way in like he did last year, and he was on the fringes of missing it if somebody had won the last race at Indianapolis, but he got it done. He's in the playoffs, and I think he's going to be a contender and a future star down the road. Number 2, Kyle Larson, who is so close to that silver lining to break what has been a disappointing season for the team. A win would have locked him in, and he would have been safely in the playoffs and wouldn't have to worry about any other drivers winning. He was so close to pulling this off. He was catching Alex Bowman towards the end. They were stuck in traffic, and they were running different lanes. Bowman was running the top. Larson started running the top. Then when Bowman got stuck in the bottom behind lap cars, Larson started catching up, and he got by him ultimately with about 8 laps to go. And I felt like, that's it. Larson's going to drive away. But Bowman reeled him back in, and he got back by him on the bottom, and Larson couldn't capitalize. It was a good point that day, though, for Kyle Larson. He really needed this because he came in 18 points above the cut line. He leaves 35 points in 12th or 13th. So a big points day for Kyle Larson. Really needs this, especially what's coming up, and that's Daytona. Number 3, Jimmy Johnson. Hendrick Motorsports seems to be getting their groove back together. I mean, we've seen how good the 9, the 88, and the 24 have been mostly this year, particularly in race and qualifying. Jimmy Johnson's been kind of hit or miss, but yesterday was the best performance I've seen of the 48 car in a long time with Jimmy Johnson, and not Chad Knaus, Kevin Mendering. They were in the top 5 all day, and he was really, really competitive. I mean, he probably could have won this race if he had the car right in the final stage, which was off balance from where it was in stages 1 and 2 when he was racing with guys like Austin Dillon, who was on the pole, Kevin Harvick, who dominated most of the race. I mean, Jimmy Johnson put together a stellar performance, and at the beginning of the race, he was outside the playoffs. After the race, he's 20 points above the cut line. A big day for the 48 car. And I feel like they're still missing something to try and win, but they're getting closer. They're getting back to where they normally run, up front, running for wins. Are they championship contender at the moment? Let's pump the brakes about that. Jimmy Johnson still got to get back to victory lane and start running better than he normally does to prove to us all that he's back. as far as winning a championship. But as far as his race pace, it's getting better. And it's a huge credit to the 48 team and Kevin Mendry in his first year as Jimmy Johnson's crew chief. Number 4, stage winners. Didn't really have the best of luck. Denny Hamlin won stage 1 on different tire strategies from everybody else, and then people started blowing him out. But then after stage 1, before stage 2 began, everybody pitted, and Denny Hamlin had an uncontrolled tire, an arm's length uncontrolled tire, and he had to restart the back, and he ran into the back of Ryan Blaney and never really recovered. He only got 15th out of it, so not really good performance by Hamlin. Now for Harvick, led the most laps, and honestly, it looked like he, like Jimmy Johnson, was going to break the winless streak and was going to pull through and get his first win of the season. But in stage 3, he hit the wall, and which was ultimately the last caution of the day. He fixed the car, but he got stuck back in all that dirty air and never really recovered and only got 14th out of it. So the 4 team, they've got the cars. They're just running into these little gremlins that are getting in their way. Either it's themselves or it's other people that's causing it for them. So the 4 car still has some work to do if they're going back to victory circle. And number 5, the racing itself. 550 horsepower package for the 1.5 or 2 mile tracks this year. On the 1.5 miles this year, the aero package has been really good. Vegas was pretty good. Texas was better as the repaved. The Kansas race has been the best 1.5 miles this year. And the Coke 600 was really, really strong. This race was in between the 600 and Kansas, honestly. They were literally, it's an old groove track. You could run anywhere on the racetrack, high, middle, low. I mean, we were 3 and 4 wide for multiple laps, and it's unbelievable how we didn't have a big wreck. The way they were running, I felt like this is going to be the big one before we even get to Daytona. But these guys literally used their heads. And the racing itself, this has been the best Chicagoland race I've seen in a long time. I mean, I know the finish of last year's race was pretty cool, but, you know, the racing today, even, you know, the finish was really good with the 2 young guns bound for the win. But the racing itself on long runs and short runs was just unbelievable. Even the top 5 could break at the end of stage 2. Were breaking away from everybody. They were pulling literally 2 seconds ahead, and they were all within 2 seconds of each other, the top 5. They were basically 4 Chevys and Kevin Harvick. I mean, even when they were battling for second and third, Harvick couldn't break away from those guys. That's how good this package was. I mean, it wasn't as exciting as Kansas, but it was definitely good. Really good race in Chicagoland that I've seen in many years. Finally, Chase Elliott, 11th place finish. Well, I really felt like we should have finished higher than that, but honestly, before, like, when the race got started, we were out to lunch. Our car was literally dropping like a rock. And then after the big rainstorm that came in, after 11 laps, we took a packer out of the left front to improve the downforce. It got better. We fell 2 laps down. We got both of them back. And at stage 2, we were charging to the front, and it felt like we were going to have a chance to win this race. And then before stage 3 started, we shot ourselves in the foot. Well, the pit crew did, not Chase Elliott. The air hose for the gun changer got cut up behind the right rear tire, and we had to start at the back, and we really couldn't recover. We only mustered 11th place, so not a bad day, but, you know, I think we should have done better than that, honestly. I think we had a top 5, if not possibly a win coming our way. But great performance overall by Chase and the Hendrick Motorsports camp. They're getting better. I mean, the lowest finisher was Elliott in 11th because Bowman won, Johnson 4th, and William Byron 8th. Hendrick Motorsports is getting better and better as the weeks go by. And also, I want to mention, NBC made the return to NASCAR this season after the championship finale at Homestead. They've been away for the first 16 races because of Fox. NBC came back yesterday with Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, and the one and only Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I gotta say, they did a really good job covering yesterday's race. And I know people say, you know, it's fun to listen to Jr. even though last year he had his, you know, broadcasting difficulties. From what I could hear from the race, he's gotten better, but, you know, we'll see as the races go on. But overall, not a bad start for NBC and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those guys. Up next is the 4th of July Spectacular. Daytona, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Super Speedway Racing. I can't say restrictor plates anymore because we don't use them. Super Speedway Racing at its best. After what we saw at Talladega, I expect this race to be just as good, if not better. Maybe even better than the Daytona 500 this year when we ran restrictor plates. The big stories coming into that race, obviously, can the racing live up to what we saw at Talladega? Will the Fords be able to pick up where they left off from the 500, or will Chevy do exactly what they did in Talladega by working together and taking it to the Fords and beating them, especially considering that the Toyotas are at a disadvantage with 5-6 cars in the running order? What's going to happen? And the big question is, obviously, I think everybody's a little bit concerned, is there going to be another Ricky Stenhouse demolition derby like he did last year? You know, he's outside the playoffs right now, and he's going to win. He's going to be aggressive and everything, but you can't take it out on the whole field. Don't try to wreck the whole field. What's going to happen? you better tune in on NBC to find out what's going to happen, but I got a feeling it's going to be even bigger than the actual fireworks show. Even this upcoming 4th of July, this Thursday. It's going to be a spectacular race, and I'm excited to see it all. So I want to give a shout out to all the Americans out there, and early happy 4th of July, and enjoy the fireworks, enjoy the barbecues, enjoy everything. And we got a big-ass barbecue I can't really speak today. We got a big party coming up this Saturday at Daytona. Cannot wait to see what happens. So subscribe, like, and congrats to Alex Bowman on his first career win. And he's in the playoffs for 2019, and I'll see you later.